So in this video I'm going to show you how I dehydrated this curly kale to make this beautiful curly kale flakes that you can use in soups and stews, in cakes, in omelettes, anything you like. It's a great way to get the kids or anybody that doesn't like their greens to eat their greens, because you can hide it and they won't even know it's there. Hello, I'm Tilly, and today I'm going to be doing some British sliced curly kale in my dehydrator. So this is my second project. I did the frozen veg to start with and it turned out beautifully. Let me just show you the jars. So these are my 3 jars of dried vegetables, dehydrated vegetables that I did. 6 whole kilograms of vegetables that I dehydrated in one go in the Excalibur dehydrator. So they're looking fabulous. They're just in the conditioning process now, so they're being conditioned, but just look beautiful. So now I'm going to dehydrate these 3 bags of curly kale. Now these were 79p a bag from Lidl's and they're 200 grams. So my first thing is to just get them all open, chuck them into a bowl with water and some distilled vinegar, and just give them a good old massage, let them soak, give them a really good wash and let them sit there and soak and massage and give them a good clean. So that's my first step. So that is all the kale rinsed and all the big stalks taken off. That's quite a lot of stalks in there. Now these you can use in whatever you want. You can use them in your soups and stews, cut them up and cook them along with everything else if you want to. I'm not going to do that. These are going in the compost. Some of them do look a bit grubby, but these will go into the compost, so that's brilliant. And now what I'm doing now is I've got them in my salad spinner, and I'm going to do them in batches because they don't all fit in here together. But I'm just going to put it in there. Give it a good spin. And there's that water that came out of there. So that's not completely dry, but it's got a lot of that moisture out of there. If you haven't got a salad spinner, you don't need to go out and buy one. You can put it in a tea towel or a towel of any sort and give it a good press down in between the towels, and it'll help dry it as well. So I'm going to go through, do the rest of it like this, spin all that water out, and then I will get back to you. So that is my massive bowl of kale all done. So now I've got to get it on the trays and into the dehydrator. Now all the stalks that I've pulled off, the reason you don't want to be putting these in is these will take a long time to dehydrate, much longer than the leafy parts of the kale. So this is why I've took all these hard stalks out, because we don't want to be spoiling our lovely kale. So that's that part. Now I'm going to load up our trays. Now I won't be able to fit all 9 trays in the dehydrator because I need a big space between the layers. But I'm just going to load this on. And as I'm loading it, I'm looking for any other stalks that might have been missed or any big veiny parts. So I want to get it all around the edges. I want to use as much of this area as I possibly can without making it too thick. That looks good. So we'll get that one in. If I put that one in the bottom, and then I'll miss a level and then go up to the next one. So we'll see how much we'll get in this time. If you watched the last video with the frozen veg that I did put a whole 6 kilograms of frozen veg in. And yeah, I probably overpacked it, but it did it absolutely fine. So it did a really good job of it. So I really gave this Excalibur dehydrator a good workout. And it lived up to its reputation because it dried them out beautifully, as you saw at the beginning of this video. So pull out any of those little stalky bits that I've previously missed. Another couple of bits there. Don't want those in. So that's 4 trays. Fabulous. Now I've only got this tiny little bit left. I am going to get this in there. So I'm going to pull out one of the other trays and see what space I've got. So 4 shelves, all full. And now we'll just get the front on. So what I'm going to do with these is to start them off at 125 degrees Fahrenheit, 52 centigrade. I'm going to do that for about the first hour, and then I'm going to turn them down to about 115 for the rest of the time. So by dehydrating them at a lower temperature, because they are vegetables, and for vegetables it does say 125 degrees, but having watched lots of videos, it's better if you cook them at a lower, if you dehydrate them at a lower temperature, because it keeps in more of the nutrients. So that's why I'm going to start them off at 125 just for the first hour, and then turn them down to 115. So that's had its first hour at 125 degrees. Now I just wanted to show you that you do get some water come out the bottom, and you can see that there. So just be careful where you put your machine, because I didn't realise, probably naively, when I first started with the frozen veg, there was quite a lot of water come out, and I thought, oh heck, what's happening here? But that's completely normal, because there's tons of water in there, so it's got to come out somewhere. So just be careful where you stand your machine, and be aware that some water will come out. But I just wanted to show you how it's looking after that first hour. And it's just starting to dry. It's not crispy at all, but you can see it's changing. It's shrunk a little bit. As you can see, there's now gaps in the trays. You can hear that at the back. It dries quicker at the back where the fan is. It's close to the fan. So I'm just going to go in and just make sure that I haven't got any clumps now, because I did put that quite thick to get that all on, but that's not looking too bad. See, it's starting to shrink quite a lot. So not doing too bad. There's not too bad clumps there. Oh, it's fantastic. I love hearing the crunch, because you know it's all working as it should. And then we're going to put that on now for the rest of its time until it's dry at 115 degrees to try and keep more of those nutrients in. There, so just making sure there's no big clumps at all. When you open your door, when you're doing this sort of stuff, do make sure that the fan has stopped completely. Because you may get bits blowing out because it's quite a powerful fan on here. Well, that's all looking good. So that's all good. So we'll put that back in, put the door back on, and then put it on 115 degrees and start it up again. So these are now done. They've been in for about 4.5 hours and they're nice and crispy. So I'm going to let them cool down a bit and just check, because when they cool down they get even crispier. So should all be good. So I'm going to let these all cool down and then come back and check them again. Nice and crispy. Oh, just how I like them. Don't they sound wonderful? I love the sound. So we'll come back in a few minutes and check them when they're cold. So these are now cold and I'm going to try and get them out without making too much of a mess. And I've got one of these little foil trays, so I'm going to try and tip it into there. See how we get on. The thing is with it, because it crumbles up so much, all the little bits drop through the mesh. Ooh. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Not too bad. Bit of a mess, but not too bad. So that, I mean, it just looks wonderful. It just crumbles up so nicely. Perfect. So let's get the rest of them out. I wonder if I'd be better off taking the mesh off first and tipping it in like that. I don't want to waste any of this because it's quite precious, because it's a long old job to do these things, and it dries right down. So every little bit, even if it's a small bit, actually rehydrates to quite a big bit. So don't want to waste any. I'm just going to break it up a bit. You can make this into a powder, but I'm not going to make this lot into a powder because I could always do that at a later date if I decided to. I'm just going to crunch it up like that. That's quite satisfying doing that. So this is a great way to get people that don't like the greens. We do like greens, so we like them just normal, how you have them, like with the dinner and stuff. But if there's somebody that doesn't like greens particularly, you can mix these in with the soups and stews and shepherd's pies or anything. Put them in with anything and they won't even know they're there. So it works really, really well. And for people like us that do like greens anyway, it's a really good way to get in more of the good. I mean, kale is so good for you. And it's a way to get more of the healthy greens into your diet. So it really, really does work well. You don't even have to crush them up like this if you don't want to. You can just leave them just in this sort of stage. Just put them in a jar like this. So that's all nicely broken up. Looks like freshly cut grass. So now I'm going to get it into the jar. And these are just second-hand jars. I ask all my friends and family to save me their jars. So it's got a good rubber seal on it, so it's absolutely fine. It's all been washed, dried properly, so this is good to go in here. Second jar. Okay, make sure I get all the bits. Very nice. So, 1 and not a half, maybe a third, maybe, probably a little bit more. Very nice. 2 jars. So now it's got to be conditioned. So it's going to be sitting on my side, along with my jars of dehydrated vegetables. And each day they're going to get shook up and turned, and make sure there's no bits sticking on the bottoms or anywhere. Make sure there's no condensation anywhere. And if there is, it can go back in the dehydrator or in the oven to dry, just on a very, very low temperature. If there's any mould at all anywhere, it must be thrown away, because if there's any mould, it's gone through the whole lot. So that is just a beautiful thing. And that can now be used in soups, stews, any dishes that you want, meat dishes. You can use it in eggs, you put it in omelettes, anything you want, even in cakes, bizarrely. Isn't that just fabulous? So I don't know what my next project is going to be just yet. There's so many things I want to do. So I've got to have a think. I might do some apples, because I've got some apples I want to do. So much I want to do. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.